Hi, everybody. I hope you're ready to rock and roll with me. I need to see some likes and let me know if you're on. Give me some I'm here so I know I have some people on. I don't have anybody yet. Hi, Megan. Okay, I'm so amped up, you guys. I'm so excited to share what I've learned and the beauty of this business and the power of this business. So I hope you're excited, just like I am. Hi, Vanessa. All right, I'm gonna give it about 30 or 40 seconds. Yay, hi, Darby. Hi, Christina, my girl. Hi, Jenny. All right, so thank you, first of all. Thank you for being here tonight. Thank you for investing in yourselves and in your businesses. That you are in this group means that you have set a goal as diamond or team leader. And so you really need to go above and beyond to get to those points. And you're doing that because you're here tonight. So I appreciate that. I understand we're all busy. We all have a lot going on. But as you are going to learn in this business, you do make a commitment and you do make sacrifices because that hard work does pay off. So, yeah, I want nothing more than for you to have an aha moment tonight. Like, I want you to hear something in a different way that prompts you to spring into action. We're coming into a really important time in our business, the fourth quarter, and I'm going to talk about that a little bit later. But my goals for this evening are to shorten your learning curve. So the reason why we put these groups together is because the coaches that are presenting have experience, and we want you to learn from the mistakes that we've made in the past, the things that we've done wrong and the things that we've done right, to accelerate your growth rate, because we want nothing more than to see you all reach your goals, okay? Okay, so that's point number one. Point number two is I'm going to share some universal truths tonight. Some things that I'm going to ask you to accept as true. And when you do those things, I think you're going to be able to embrace coaching and this business in a different way. Number three is I just simply want you to have at least 2 or 3 important takeaways, okay? Something that causes you to look at what you're doing as a coach a little bit differently, take a different approach with a prospect. If you take home 2 or 3 things that have an impact in your business, then I've done my job, and my job is to provide value and to be helpful tonight. So that's the goal, and let's get rolling. Okay, so first give me a couple more. Let's see. Oh, hi, my husband's on. Woo! He's checking to make sure, he's seeing if I'm going to talk about him. Okay, so let's talk. Here's the starting point. These universal truths. I'm going to ask you to accept these things as true, okay? I really want your attention, and I want your trust tonight, because this is something I've experienced personally, and this is something I know in my heart to be true. And when you embrace these things, I think you're going to see this business in a new light. So, because I think a lot of people don't fully grasp the power of this business, and I was one of those people for a very long time. Okay, so I want you to think about these things and even write them down. Accept them as true. Number 1, you have everything you need to be successful. And give me some hearts if you like it too, by the way. It's interactive. Number 1, you have everything you need right now to be successful at your fingertips. Number 2, there is nobody better than you. There's nobody better than you. I'm not better than you. Nobody in this network is better than you. You have unique strengths that you bring to the table, and you have a unique story, and there's power in that story, and your story is unlike anybody else's. That's the truth. Now, there are people who've built successful habits. Well, that's why we're here, because that's what you're going to be doing. Number 3, any skills that you are lacking can be learned. Let me repeat. Any skills that you are lacking can be learned. I don't care if it's social media that troubles you, that makes you nervous, whether it is you're lacking in confidence, whether you haven't had a lot of experience building close relationships, your leadership, time management, discipline, any and all of it can be learned. And that should be exciting for you because you know you can do this. And that happens through personal growth and personal development. Number 4, when you build successful habits and help others get what they want, you achieve your goals. How cool is that? So we have this amazing job where we get to work on ourselves and work to achieve our full potential. And while we're doing that, we're helping other people get what they want, and then we get what we want. So I just think it's such a beautiful business, and I hope you realize that. This is my favorite. I might say this 10 times. Number 5, and I got this from Grant Cardone, and I will tell you where to go because this is probably a book recommendation for you if you're pushing for elite. Number 5, you have a duty, responsibility, and obligation to reach your full potential. That's the truth. When you see things in that light, there's no stopping you. When you see things as a duty, you will stay up 20 minutes later on a Wednesday night when you're tired to send out the rest of your messages. To get to the next level, you have to see what you do as a coach as your duty, responsibility, and obligation. And if you're showing up every day giving your absolute best, then you have to have confidence that you're instilling the right things in your coaches and that you will have success. Okay. So the speakers to this point have been amazing, and I've learned something from every single one of them. And I had some observations because that's what I like to do. I like to make observations, but we're all different. And how cool is that? We all have different motivations, reasons why we came into this business. And I had no idea. My story is a little similar to Jamie's. I didn't know that. But just to give you a little background, I've been coaching for 3.5 years. I'm married, happily married to my high school sweetheart, Frank, who's amazing. I have 2 wild and wonderful kids. I'm a lawyer. I run marathons. And I was somebody who did not take this business very seriously for a long time, okay? I was very resistant to the business. I fell in love with the products. I believed in Shakeology. I loved the fitness. But I just didn't want to take the time to understand the full potential of the business opportunity. And thank goodness Christina was patient with me. I promise you, she probably wanted to punch me in the throat. Like, I was just tune her out. And, I trusted her and I respected her. But there were a number of things that held me back. And tell me, give me likes or say me, because remember, it's interactive, so I need you guys participating with me. Tell me if any of this sounds familiar. So what held me back in the beginning was, number 1, I had 30 pounds to lose, so I didn't have the confidence. I didn't feel like I could influence people. I was still working on myself. So how could I possibly get other people to join me, right? Number 2, I thought I had no time. That's everybody's favorite, right? We all know, we've heard that one. But guys, I'm a practicing attorney. I have my own law firm. I have 2 young children. I didn't think I had the time to learn this business. I was wrong. This is what held me back, remember, in the beginning. Eventually I got with it. Number 3, I'm a lawyer, and I'm actually trained to really not believe people. Quite honestly, if something sounds too good to be true, then I don't believe it. And so even though I trusted her, I just thought, wow, like, you talk about income potential. I just thought, well, that's just crazy. How could anybody possibly make that much money? It took me some time. Let me read some. Yeah, no time is definitely a big hang up. But so because I had those limiting beliefs, it held me back from embracing the full potential of what this opportunity could do and how it could change our lives. I also had a really bad self-perception problem, and I've talked about this with my team, but I'm a lawyer, and so I've had this insecurity my whole life, but I'm, just care way too much about what other people think of me. And so as a professional, I thought to myself, well, how can I say that I have this serious job and then post selfies smiling in a sports bra? Like, I didn't know how to reconcile that, and I really struggled with it. And so I held back quite a bit. I wasn't really confident on social media. And it's because I was too self-involved, basically. The last thing is, I am an overthinker. So hopefully you guys are leaders, or you're training to be leaders. You need to understand your coach's personalities. So I am a red-blue, but I think I'm pretty even with that. So I'm somebody who, I'm a red, I'm a lawyer, but I'm a blue, and I overthink everything, right? Does anybody else struggle with paralysis analysis? I know a lot of my coaches do. And that is something that held me back from advancing in this business for a long time. So, okay, let's talk about perception. I was a 5-star elite coach last year. If you don't know the story, I had very few points very late in the year and made a huge push the last 5 months and was able to hit that huge goal. And I'm so proud of my team. We worked very closely together. But I don't want you to think that this comes easy for anybody, because we all start in the same place. We all have the same insecurities. We all worry about what other people will think of us. We all doubt whether we can influence people. And I want you to know that I did that for a long time. And so you might see this nice shiny package wrapped up, but you don't understand how much I doubted myself, and you don't understand, what I struggled with. And we all have that story. So I want us to understand together that nobody has it easy. You work for it in this business. Anybody who is a 10-star diamond, 15-star, whatever their rank is, they earned it. They worked hard for it. And so you heard about that part of it. But what really happened in the beginning as a coach? First of all, okay, so last year was a big year for my team and our incredible downline, and our team experienced exponential growth. I think we had 80 to 100 coaches in January, and by the end of the year, we were at around 11 to 1,200. So it was huge growth, and I've spent a lot of time thinking about why that is, and I'll talk a little bit more about that. But I think there was leadership that arose early on, and once you get one coach, and for me, that was Jenny, my very first business builder. And once you have one person that really wants to run this race with you, then it gets serious, because then you have a duty, responsibility, and obligation to be at your very best so that you can mentor them, so that they can get to their very best. And so I took it seriously once I realized not only Jenny, but that there were a number of coaches that were taking this very seriously, who were applying on a consistent basis the training. So they were in training, they were fully engaged in the group, and they were rock stars. And that was at the point where I said, okay, this is a business, and I'm going to help these ladies get to where I know they can be. That was a major driver for me in 2015. And so we did all of the things that we're taught to do, and we created systems, and we worked together, and we had this incredible team culture. But let me back up. What happened in the beginning? For the first it took me 6 months, okay? From the time that I signed, I did not enroll a coach for 6 months. 3 months later, I signed my second coach. Okay, and I tell you that because I don't want you to think you're a failure if you're not diamond yet and you've been coaching for so many months. That's not the case. Everybody has their own journey. And for me, I didn't fully embrace this as a business opportunity. I didn't take it seriously, and that's okay. If I had compared myself to the people to the left and the right of me, I would have quit, because I wasn't achieving the success that they were achieving. It's about so much more than just you. And so that was my journey. Took me 6 months to sign coach number 1, 3 months later, I signed coach number 2. Then I go to Super Saturday, and the coaches on my team know this story, but I go to Super Saturday a couple weeks later. I have a conversation with a friend who's not even on Diesel Nation. We spoke for 10 or 15 minutes, and I had a major aha moment that I was really holding myself back with this self-perception thing. 6 weeks later, I'm a diamond. What do you know? That's why it's important to be on these calls and really dig deep with your personal development so you can understand and realize what's holding you back and set it free. Okay, because that's when you really start to soar, when those setbacks are out of your way. Okay, so I hit diamond. That was huge. And I still, I was a hobby coach. I didn't hit star diamond, guys, for another year. Okay, so tonight I want you to throw out what happened yesterday, what happened last month, what happened last year, the coach that quit 3 months ago, that she had so much potential and you're still stewing about it because you know she could have been your next superstar diamond, Lindsay Matway. You have to let go of these things. You have to let go of your placement. You have to let go of where you placed your spouse. This business is about what you do today that sets you up for tomorrow. It's not about what happened yesterday. So it really doesn't matter what rank you are right now. It doesn't matter how much money you make. It only matters what you're doing today to get you to your big why, in the big vision that you have for yourself. You are never going to be defined by Success Club and rank and how much money you make. You are so much more than that, and you have to know that. Okay, but as I said, there were a number of exceptional women on our team, and I think that really spurred on our team growth. And of course, because I like observing things, I'm very analytical, I said, what do these girls have? And what they do and what you need to look for, these are characteristics you need to look for in your coaches, because you are building a team, you are building an organization, and you want to mentor the people that are going to run with you. They apply what they are learning and training, and so they're doing what you tell them to do. How crazy is that, right? They show up to team calls, they are plugged in, they're active and engaged, and they go to events. They don't have to be told to do things or how to do things. They go out and they get the answer because they understand that there is Google and that there is YouTube. And they're assertive. And then finally, they do the bold, scary things that other people are unwilling to do. And the characteristics that I just described, you need to embrace those characteristics. You need to be doing those things. And you need to be honest with yourself tonight and ask yourself if you're doing all of those things. Are you assertive? Do you wait for your coach to remind you of something, or do you go out and attack it before? You don't need a reminder because you know it. Okay, so let's see. Yeah, I am a big overthinker. Like I said, I'm very analytical. But when you break down this job, this amazing job that we have, what do we really do? We work on ourselves, right? And we work to get better every single day to reach our own potential. And then we help other people do the same thing, whether in fitness and health or in this business. And again, when you help other people get what they want, you achieve your goals. So it's really important, as you're adding coaches into your organization and sponsoring coaches, for you to identify very early on, what do they want? What do they want? And if they're a discount coach, they're a discount coach, and that's okay. And you love on them, and you love on them where they are, right, Danielle McKean? But if they say they are financially motivated and they do have big goals, and this is somebody who is a business builder, you have to challenge them, and you have to be real and honest and direct and let them know, what are they willing to sacrifice to get there? You have to start those conversations early on. Because if they want a 6-figure salary, and maybe the first goal is $200 a month, then you show them and you give them the guidance that they need, and you make sure that they understand the 4 vital behaviors. Okay, so I'm going to drop some facts on you, and hopefully these set your mind at ease. Facts and research and study tells us that only 1 out of every 10 coaches are going to be working coaches. Guys, that is the reality. 1 out of 10 coaches, okay? So if you're a baby diamond, or you're pushing to diamond and you are so frustrated that nobody wants to work this business with you, and you have 8 or 9 coaches in your downline, your business builder's on the way. Don't spend energy and effort being frustrated. You can't turn people into something that they aren't. Understand that the statistics show it's 1 out of 10. So think about how many coaches the Melanie Mitros sponsor. You have to be patient and understand that this is a process, and understand that with everything that you're putting out there, somebody is watching you, and they're gonna come. Okay? But if you are at the point in your business where you have 10 coaches, then don't freak out if you don't have your rockstar business builder yet. If anything, that should spur you to be more bold and more audacious in talking about the business opportunity, because you have to be real about what you want, and then you have to be bold enough to share it with the world unapologetically. This is where I'm going. This is what this opportunity has done for me, who's coming with me. And I mean that. So don't get upset if you're not there yet. It does take time. It took a long time for me. Okay. So another thing that Beachbody has spent a lot of time doing for our benefit is examining the habits of these very successful coaches, the most successful. And they came up with this awesome formula, and they came up with these vital behaviors. And I feel like people just say blah, 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 4 vital behaviors, but I really want you to understand how critical they are, because you have to look at it like it's a gourmet meal, and it only really comes down to 4 ingredients. And at any given time, you could be really good in one, but you're not doing 1 or 2 of them. You're not going to be able to put it together. It's like the pieces of a puzzle. You need all 4. You need all 4. So you might be in love with fitness, and you might love talking about fitness all the time, but you're not doing any personal development. Until you commit to the personal development, you're not going to experience that growth to get you to the next level. Okay? So we all know what the 4 vital behaviors are, but we have to ask ourselves and be honest, are we doing all of them every day consistently? I can tell you that recognition was a really big part of team growth last year, because what I was doing was looking for anything that I saw that was just awesome in any coach. And it didn't matter whether I sponsored them or not, but I was looking for characteristics and things that coaches were doing that showed me that they had potential. And I want to encourage you to do that, because as a brand new coach, it is intimidating and it is overwhelming. You may not know if you're doing good or not. And it means a lot to get a message, just letting that person know that they're doing a great job, or recognizing them on the team page. I think it builds self-esteem, it builds confidence, but it's also a great training tool for the rest of your team, because you're giving a concrete example of how to tell a story, how to make a great effective post. You're showing your team. So I just can't speak enough on recognition. I think it's really important in building your future leaders. While we're on team stuff, if you are a diamond level, you should have a personally sponsored page, and you should be starting to create that culture within your own team. And even if you only have 4 or 5 coaches, it's never too soon. Okay, so here's my thing that I always say, and I hope it helps. I hope you understand it, but I always say you can never be disappointed with the results you didn't get from the work you didn't do. And what I mean by that is, you can't expend effort and energy being frustrated and upset and disappointed and feeling like you're a failure for not reaching your goals if you haven't done the work that you know is required. That's why. It's not because you're not made for this. It's just that you didn't put the work in. And that is a learning opportunity for you. So we all have been there. We've all failed at some point, I want to encourage you to fail forward, learn from it, move on, use it as a teaching tool, because it will happen. And it's okay. It makes you stronger. It makes you better. So, okay. Yeah, 25 minutes in. Okay. So I also really enjoy sports. So I thought I would give you a little sports analogy as a different way of looking at things. I'm a huge Miami Heat fan. Give me hearts if you like the Miami Heat. Okay. Okay. So at the end of the year, they were preparing for the playoffs. And this is a really important time, obviously. This is the time we're coming on in our business because we're headed into the fourth quarter. Very important time for you. It's crunch time. For the people who have set big, hairy, audacious, scary goals, this is when you need to make it happen. It's gut check time. So as they're interviewing Eric Spoelstra, the head coach, he's known as being very analytical. And they said, what's your game plan? How are you going to get this young team ready for the playoffs? And he said, oh, well, we're just going to get 1% better every day in practice. And I love that because you have to think about it. So in the sport of basketball, there's rebounding, there's, offensive efficiency, there's all these different statistics, just like our power of three. There's all these little things that we're supposed to do each and every single day. We're supposed to start new conversations. We're supposed to invite people to our free challenge groups. We're supposed to make connections. We're supposed to invite to the business opportunity, right? We all should have seen this power of three, and I'm going to revise it and post it in the group so that you can start using it. And it will be something that you can edit because I want you to add your own flair. I'm going to add my own flair. I think at this point in your business, you're pushing for huge goals. There's a minimum of 5 happening right now. It's not the power of 3, we're talking the power of 5 because you guys have big goals. And so you have to take massive action. But I love that. So all they're trying to do, and this is the best of the best, this is professional basketball, is get 1% better in every single category with each practice. And that's all we're asking you to do as coaches. Show up every day, do your best, and try to be better than you were the day before. That's what will make a difference. Those are building habits, successful habits, and that's exactly what Melanie Mitro does, you guys. She's talked about it over and over again, is that she looks at her data. Every month, at the end of the month, she looks at her volume, her sponsored coaches, and she tries to beat herself the next month. And I promise you, if you put that into practice with your business right now, starting tomorrow, and you try to beat yourself the next day, and we have to give ourselves grace. We understand nobody's perfect, and you're not going to have a perfect, great day every day, but the goal is you are not comparing yourself to Coach Susie. And, this elite coach over here and this person who hit diamond in 3 months, it's irrelevant. That has nothing to do with your business, your goals, and your journey. I'm asking you to focus on what you can do. And what you can do is try to beat yourself every day. So we're going to use that form. We're going to use the power of 5, and you're going to build these successful habits. I have another sports analogy. Tom Brady. We all know Tom Brady comes from a very storied franchise, the Patriots. Guy's got a lot of pressure on him. And he always seems so cool, calm, and collected. I mean, I've seen him lose it a few times, but for the most, it's on the bench, never on the field, right? Never during game time. The bigger the moment, the more cool, calm, and collected he is. And that's what I'm going to ask of you, is that in these big moments, you maintain your composure, okay? Another thing that he does is, because it's life and it's normal and we all do it, is he makes a mistake, a really bad mistake. He throws an interception, the other team catches it, it goes back for 6 the other way. Guess what the very best people do? Business professionals, entrepreneurs, athletes, they have a short memory. And you need to have a short memory in this business with the letdowns. Anything that disappoints you, you need to let it go, like Elsa says. And I already gave you some examples, but the coach that quit 3 months ago that had so much potential, let it go. It's okay. Bless and release, they say. The goal you didn't reach in July, the rank that you're not at yet, your income goal. don't focus on that. You have to let that go. You have to have a short-term memory, and you have to instead focus on today, what you can do today to get better and get closer to that goal. There's a lot of wasted time, I think. Okay, so what did we get out of Gary Vee at Summit? The single biggest reason you will not be massively successful is lack of patience. Ain't that the truth? Patience was a huge theme at Summit. Understanding that it takes time to build this, and that's why you can't compare your weak leg volume to a coach that's been at this 3 years longer than you. It's not a fair comparison. You have to be patient, and you have to be confident in the goals that you're setting for yourself and in your belief for yourself. I think we live in an immediate gratification society. Everybody wants it right now, and you have to slow down and understand that it does take time to build this business, okay? The way you get there faster, I mean, the really cool thing in this business is that you set the pace. The way you get there faster is 10x action, okay? And so if you are pushing for elite, if you have big income goals, if you are looking to retire, I highly recommend that you read Grant Cardone's book, The 10X Rule, and don't just read it, but apply it. I think it will give you a new way of looking at things. Okay? So how do we get to where we want to be? First of all, I'm going to ask you to take 100% ownership of where you are today, okay? With your fitness and with your business. Once you have a complete acceptance of where you are, you can take control. But if you've been hanging on to these excuses, I'm not successful because my sponsor doesn't mentor me enough. I'm not successful because of my placement. I get no help from upline. Things like that. Guys, I hate to break it to you, but Christina and Becky were on a dead leg, and look what they've built. When I have those moments where I doubt myself or I'm overwhelmed, because we all have them, I look to my sponsor and I look to people that I look up to. And I understand, appreciate, and accept that they had the same or even more difficult challenges that I had with time management and things like that. I saw my coach as a partner at a law firm going through trials, building a business with 2 young kids and a 2-hour commute. So if she can, I can too, okay? And that's the mentality you need to take, okay? There are example after example of so many coaches who've come from all different walks of life on Diesel Nation that are making it happen, and let that be your inspiration, and let that be the reason that you have the belief that you can too, because I'm telling you, I've seen it over and over again, and it took me some time to see it and realize it, but if they can, so can you. Okay, so we're going to take an honest inventory of where we are today. You need to know your strengths. You need to know what you're good at. And if you're unsure of this, ask your sponsor, what do I do well? What do you think are the things that come naturally to me? And what are the things I need to work on? And you really have to have a clear understanding of that, because what you hone in on is what you're going to spend time working on. And so we want to be proactive, and we want to get better at the things that are scary. And that's going to help you work on developing these successful habits. This is huge for me. It always starts with you. It always starts with you, especially when it comes to achieving diamond and beyond. If your coaches are not responding the way you want them to, you do want to look back at yourself and see if you're modeling the right kind of behavior. And I talked about it. I talked about the days and the moments of frustration where I feel like I'm overwhelmed or whatever, and I can remind myself of Christina's journey and what she did, and that helps me know that I can do it too, because she had so much more pressure working for a big law firm. But no, I just lost my place. Sorry. But I know. Sorry. What I was going to say is something else that gets me moving on a day where I don't have the energy. Maybe I've got personal problems happening in my life, what snaps me back into action is that my coaches are watching me, right? And you know that you have a duty, responsibility, and obligation to show them that you are putting into practice the 4 vital behaviors every single day. And so on those days where you don't wanna, because we all have them, think about your coaches and the example that you are setting. And I promise you, when you look at it that way, because you want your coaches to be successful, you are so invested in them, that will spur you into action. Okay, this is another big one. Control the controllable, guys. I feel like coaches waste a lot of time being upset over things that are out of their control. And I think you need to take control of what is controllable. So what is controllable? Things like how many people you invite every day, how you make it known that you appreciate your coaches and challengers. That's a big one. You have control over how you show them that you appreciate them, and that's important. This business is about relationships. How you recognize people. You have control over that. And remember, what you emphasize on your team page is what coaches are going to start focusing on. So if you're not doing volume recognition boards every week, then you should start. Next thing, how you train your coaches. You have control over that. What they do with it, that's out of your control. But you have control over how you best equip them to be successful. You also have control over whether you're sharing your PD and your personally sponsored page. Some people are not, let's face it, they are not going to be reading PD, and some of them might be discount coaches, but it doesn't mean you can't add value on your team page and share what you're learning, because I promise you that is going to inspire people that will possibly make your discount coaches interested in examining the coaching opportunity a little bit further. Okay, huge, important thing you need to be doing is to make big, hairy, scary, audacious goals. Probably the biggest mistake I made my first year and a half or so of coaching. I was too afraid to fail. I wanted to be in my comfort zone. And so I was the person who said, well, whatever happens with it happens, and we'll see how it goes. Don't be that person, you guys. You need to set your goals high. You need to challenge yourself. You need to be willing to push yourself. That is where the growth happens. Okay, and so don't ever say or think to yourself, I don't know, that's kind of intimidating. That's not the right attitude. That's not going to get you where you want to be in your business and at your income level. Okay, so you need to make that big, hairy, scary, audacious goal. And furthermore, you need to do things that terrify you on social media. My recommendation would be to do one thing a day, whether it is messaging like your top prospect who makes the sweaty palms prospect, who would be your dream team. Going live, I know that I hesitated to do that for a while, a couple of weeks, and I would go running and I would have everything planned out in my head and I would take notes and then I would chicken out. You have to do those things. You must do things that scare you in order to grow. You gain so much confidence from hosting a sneak peek and from hosting a business opportunity call and just going for it. You gain so much confidence and you show your coaches you take this seriously. So those are the things you need to be doing. You have to know it to grow it. I preach this all the time. Do you understand how volume works, and do you understand how to make your weekly cycle bonuses go up? It's really important to dig into your back office. It's really important, if you have questions about how to build an income, that you go to your upline, you go to your sponsor or your Star Diamond sponsor and understand how to maximize your income potential. But the answer usually is find more people, because we know statistically only 1 out of 10 are going to really work the business. And so I think if you know that going into it, you understand, like, the majority of people join to get the benefit of the discount, and that's okay. It doesn't mean you're doing anything wrong, but you really need to know it to grow it. And something else I did a lot last year, and actually Frank did, was I was on my previous office view, which is the old Coach Online office, all the time, because I wanted to know where my I wanted to know where my volume was coming from, because I wanted to know the people who were working hard, to let them know they're great and I can, can I support them in any way. They were on my radar. Something else I did was I let their sponsors know, and I said, hey, you might want to recognize her, or make sure that you privately message her, and just because that's a really big deal. And I think when you emphasize those actions, then it causes people to want to go further and to be excited and motivated, and they want to keep going. And okay, so you want to model the behavior you want to see in your coaches. So like I said, there are those days that you're just not feeling it, you've got other stuff going on, but you need to think about what you want other coaches to see in you, your coaches that you've sponsored. And I think that helps you to snap back into it. Successful coaches never take a full day off. Successful coaches show up for their business every single day. And success leaves clues. So if you're not on social media for 4 or 5 days in a row, then that might be why you're not getting the consistency that you want to see and the momentum that you want to see in your business. You must show up every day. Okay, couple of other things I've observed and some things that I've learned from training. Bonnie Engel, top 2, 3, whatever coach in the entire network, something she said was that she spends 50% of her overall time messaging people. And that was a huge aha moment for me, because I think we spend, again, if you evaluate and track how you spend your time, I think a lot of people spend time not really doing anything super productive. Maybe they're scrolling their news feed, maybe they spend 2 hours on this amazing image, and they do things that are fun and comfortable. 50% of her time is private messaging people. She does not spend, so what I'm saying is, be very conscientious of how you spend your time. And always, always ask yourself, is this the best use of my time right now? Because it's so easy to get distracted. It's so easy to get distracted on social media. But we want you to be using your time as best as possible, because your time is valuable. And we want to help you accelerate your growth. So understand that messaging people and building relationships and connecting and inviting, that's a really big part of your job. Okay, so, and my suggestion is, if you feel like you don't really know where you're spending your time, then you have to track it, and you have to just, right here, keep track. But you need to have a clear schedule, whether it's 1 hour, 2 hours a day. Have a set time that you're doing this, early in the morning, late in the evening. I know a lot of you have careers, and make it happen. Commit to that and get consistent in that. Okay, so just a few more keys to success, and I know I'm running a little long, but I hope this has been helpful. And again, I've been coaching 3.5 years. Like, I'm trying to give you what it's taken me 3.5 years to learn, because we want to see you guys succeed. So really what it comes down to is that secret sauce, those 4 vital behaviors, and practicing and perfecting them every single day, and beating yourself. Right? So being better than you were the day before, that's where you're going to see that progress. Tracking your progress. Setting those big, hairy, scary, audacious goals. Consistent persistency is so huge. I don't know if I pointed out, but I was somebody who said no to Christina for about 4 or 5 months. I loved Shakeology. Remember, I had those things that held me back, but I had watched her for over a year, and I cannot tell you how many times, again and again and again, I hear from top coaches in the network that say the same exact thing. Like, I followed my coach for 1.5 years. And then it took me a year to sign. Guys, that's the patience. You have to go back to those people. You have to understand that it might be a no right now, but it's just not now. Okay, because a lot of people say no at first because they don't really understand. They're not educated on the opportunity. You have to be resilient. I think it takes a lot of pressure off you when you realize every single person in this business has failed before. Every single person has not reached a goal that they've set for themselves, and that is okay. That is okay. When that happens, you have to use it as an opportunity to learn and get better. And typically, you're going to go through something like that, and then you're going to be able to help your coaches when they go through the same thing. So we have to learn to be resilient and develop that thick skin. Okay, and you have to let go of what's holding you back. And I'm going to challenge you tonight to think about those things in the back of your mind that have been bothering you, that you've been stewing about, that have been holding you back in this business. Write them down if you need to, throw them away, but you have to let them go. You need to be focused on what you can do today and your long-term vision. You cannot focus on what happened yesterday. It's only going to slow your growth. Okay. Share your vision with your team and on your page, and share it audaciously and boldly. Have you actually said to your team on your PS team page, guys, I'm going big and this is what I want to do, and I want to know who's coming with me? That's scary to do, but remember, then you can check something off of the do something terrifying list, right? It's hard to do that, but that's what's necessary and required. And I haven't talked about this much, but this is something that's really important to me because it's just something that I always remind myself. It's something that allowed me to get over all the things that held me back. It's not about me. It's not about me. And it's not about you. When you are figuring out how to, share your story with vulnerability and show people who you really are deep down to the core. I know it's so scary, but it isn't about you. That self-perception stuff, that stuff that I worried about, that was me being selfish. What we have with coaching is a gift. And if you are focused on helping other people get what they want, you will achieve what you want. Okay, so if there's something that is holding you back that you know you need to do in this business that's been scary, and we all have those lists of like, oh, for me it's I need to open up my like page, and it's scary. It's not about you. It's not about me. It's that I know and believe in my heart that once I open it up, I'm going to reach somebody that I wouldn't have otherwise been able to reach, and it's necessary and it's required, and it's my duty, responsibility, and obligation to do it, because that's what I need to do to reach my full potential, and that's what I have to do to help other people see what this business has to offer to them. And so I know I've gone a little long. I apologize. I just wanted to share one more thing that I've actually never shared before. And I want you to know the power of this business. So this is something I just realized a few months ago because it's so painful to think about. So about 8 years ago, I had just had Dominic. And he's a couple months old. And I remember this memory clear as day. And I hadn't thought about it in like 8 years. And I was rocking him and I was nursing him. And I was so desperate to stay home with him. And it's 2:00 in the morning and I start looking for jobs. And you guys, I want you to understand, as somebody who fought to get through law school, I took the bar. I worked my butt off and my tail off as an attorney, honing my skills, working hard, working late nights. My career meant a lot to me. And once I had my little boy in my arms, I wanted nothing more than to be with him every second of the day. And I was desperate to figure out what I could do. And in that moment, I was looking for a job. And what I was going to do was I was going to apply to be a 911 dispatcher, and I wanted to work the graveyard shift because I thought if I can work from 12 to 8 and then I can sleep for a few hours, then I can be with him all day. That is how bad I wanted to be with my son. And I would have done it, and it would have been worth it. That is what I really desperately wanted, and I've suppressed that. Like, I've not even thought about it, because you know what? Back then, it wasn't an option for me. We didn't have the ability for me to stay home. My husband talked me out of applying for the job, okay? I was able to go back to work part-time, and I was very happy to only be at a firm 3 days a week. And eventually, that firm and that great stable job that I had, there were financial difficulties, because there were there were problems with construction, okay, because this is the housing burst. So the work stopped coming in, and eventually I said, I need to open up my own practice, and that was terrifying, and I did it. But my point is that, man, I haven't thought about that for 8 years, but that's really, truly what I wanted, and that's what I have now. And I want you guys to understand the power and the beauty of this business. I resisted it, and I wasn't open to it. I didn't embrace it for a really long time. And I don't want you to be like me. I want you to understand you can have anything you want if you're willing to put in the work. And you need to be ready and prepared to leave your mark. And it's given me everything. It's given our family everything. I couldn't even begin to go into how this business has changed our lives. But I can tell you that the thing that I desperately wanted so badly 8 years ago, it took some time, but it's happening. And it's because I took the time to understand the business, and I shared boldly about it, and I believe in what we do. So I hope this was helpful for you guys. I am going to share a revised Power of 3. These are practical tools that you should be using and implementing, sharing with your team. Going to share something else from the wall today that was amazing. And I shared it in No Limits Fitness, but baby coach mentality versus rock star coach mentality. And I think we can all relate to those. I want you to see the difference and work towards getting yourself through that, because it's going to make a huge difference in your business. And then the last thing is, I'm going to share Christina Delgado's 3 layers of leadership. And even though you might have already been exposed to it before, I want you to look at it again and study it, because it's brilliant, and you cannot move into layer 2 until you get to layer 1. And so I want you to look at layer 1 very closely and make sure you're doing everything. And if not, you're going to add it to your Power of 3, and you're going to work on developing those successful habits. Thanks, guys, so much for your time. I hope it was helpful. Love you. Thanks for listening in. Bye.